7 spine-chilling hotel horror stories, the terrifying truth behind my sinister stay alone. Emily had desperately taken the night auditor job at the Crestview Hotel, and she was already regretting it. The faded grandeur that surrounded her felt more like a haunted grave than a haven. With each tick of the clock, the air around her thickened with an unsettling energy, as if the hotel itself was holding its breath. On night 1, the flickering chandelier above the front desk cast eerie shadows, twisting into grotesque shapes. The quiet was unnerving, and as she walked to fix the sputtering light bulb, she thought she heard whispers, soft, chilling. They danced down the empty corridor like a ghostly breeze. She halted mid-step, straining to identify the source. Was someone there? She turned back, heart racing, but the hallway was devoid of life, draped in shadows and silence. The hairs on her neck stood on end, and Emily shook her head. Just her tired imagination, right? As the days wore on, night after night felt like a descent into madness. Creaks and moans seeped from the walls, an old house groaning under the weight of secrets. She ignored the pit in her stomach, discarded the instinctual dread that clenched at her throat, attributing it to fatigue. But every night brought new terrors. One night, the ancient floorboards beneath her feet cracked audibly, sounding like a warning from the very depths of the building. The atmosphere thickened like smoke, wrapping around her, but not suffocating, just leaving her on edge. She stumbled upon a drawer stuffed with yellowed newspaper clippings. Her heart raced as she sifted through them, missing persons cases, stories of guests who vanished without a trace. Each headline screamed at her, echoing the whispers from the halls. The hotel had a sinister hunger. Her stomach twisted as she realized the very essence of Crestview was darkness. The storm that rolled in one fateful night mirrored her fears. Thunder cracked and the lights flickered ominously. Emily had let Lucas play in the lobby earlier, but now the silence felt like a cruel joke. "Lucas?" she called, her voice trembling. Panic clawed at her as the vast hallways, once welcoming, now morphed into a labyrinth of shadows that threatened to swallow her whole. "Lucas!" Each shout echoed back, as empty as her heart. Even as she searched in desperate urgency, deep down she felt a lurking presence, something sinister that knew her fears, her vulnerabilities as both a mother and a woman clinging to hope. Gripping the front desk, she hesitated, gazing towards the employees-only door, its rusted hinges beckoning. Something urged her closer, whispering secrets that seemed buried and dangerous. Suddenly, a cold hand clamped down on her shoulder. Emily screamed, her heart threatening to burst from her chest. Darkness enveloped her as the storm raged outside, and the realization hit her hard. Crestview was alive, feeding on her despair. The shadows closed in, each breath heavier than the last. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Desperation clawed at her. Emily wrestled with the darkness that had consumed her, the weight of terror pressing down. She had to find Lucas. What had the hotel turned him into? The walls seemed to pulsate with life, shadows dancing, eyes lurking where light never touched. Oxygen turning too webbed into madness thrummed in her veins. Would she face what awaited behind those sealed doors? With courage forged in panic, she inched closer, the sinister pull compelling her forward. The hotel held secrets deep within, but would she emerge alive to tell them? Emily felt the cold grip of terror tighten around her heart as she stepped closer to the employees-only door. The whispering shadows beckoned her, their voices now rising into a cacophony that twisted and turned in her mind. Each echo felt like a hand reaching out, searching, yearning. She glanced back to the lobby one last time, desperate for a sign of Lucas, but she found only darkness swallowing the faint glow of the chandeliers. With trembling hands, she pushed open the heavy door, the rusted hinges groaning in protest. A chill swept over her, clawing at her chest. The narrow corridor beyond stretched into near darkness, lit only by the dim glow of an overhead bulb that buzzed uneasily. The musty smell of isolation hit her, and she gagged slightly, forcing herself to step inside. Her footsteps echoed ominously as she moved deeper into the corridor, heart racing. The walls felt alive, pulsing with some unseen rhythm. Every shadow seemed to shift and sway, mocking her, instilling doubt with each rustling sound. She squinted into the gloom ahead. Was that a flicker of movement? She shook her head, trying to clear her vision, her heart pounding harder. "Lucas," she called again, her voice trembling. Silence answered. As she pressed on, the temperature dropped further, crisp and biting. Her breath came out in slow puffs, mixing with the stale air, but Emily pressed forward, gripped tight on the crumbling wall for comfort. A sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air, wrapping around her as tight as a noose. The dread coiled within her, growing stronger as if the shadows themselves were feeding her fear. A low moan echoed from a room to her left, sending a shockwave of adrenaline through her. "Hello?" she called out weakly. The noise stopped. A pregnant silence filled the void, vibrating with tension. Only her rapid breaths broke the quiet as she stalled, weighing her options. Should she go in, or keep moving toward whatever monstrous truth lay ahead? "I have to find him," she whispered to herself, the words an anchor in her spiraling thoughts. She turned toward the noise, her legs feeling leaden as she approached the door. The wood was splintered, and the doorknob was chillingly cold under her palm. Biting her lip, she turned it, the click loud in the eerie stillness. The door creaked open to reveal a dusty room, unkempt and shadowy. Cobwebs draped from the ceiling as if the room hadn't been touched in years. In the center, under the curtains that fluttered eerily in the gusts from nowhere, lay a figure, a small child with dark hair obscuring their face. "Lucas?" she gasped, stumbling forward. As she reached for him, the air shifted. The child lifted their head, but it wasn't Lucas. The face was pale, eyes hollow, a ghastly shade of white, with a gaze that felt ancient and knowing. A grin spread across their mouth, one that sent chills down her spine, revealing crooked teeth that glinted in the dim light. "Help me," it breathed, voice a ghostly echo. Emily froze, terror seeping into her bones as she stepped back. This was wrong. Everything was wrong. The shadows pulsed now like a beating heart, the walls ringing with distant laughter, each sound sharper than a blade. Then the door slammed shut behind her, plunging the room into total darkness. Panic surged, her breath quickened, Emily's heart raced faster. The walls closed in, squeezing her from all sides as she frantically pushed against the door. It wouldn't budge. A laugh filled the air, a cacophony of sinister voices whispering her name, echoing through the pitch-black void. They knew her fear, her deepest secrets. They taunted her. "You won't escape," they hissed. The weight of despair crashed down around her, and as Emily fought against the shadows, she heard something else. The soft sound of a child's laughter drifting through the darkness, full of promise and dread. "Where are you, Lucas?" she cried, the desperation spilling over. And then, through the menacing laughter, a little voice cut through the chaos. "Right here, Mommy. "Come play." Would she trust the voice that was so close yet felt impossibly far away? Would the shadows let her? As she steadied her resolve, she could feel them drawing closer, wrapping around her like a vice, ready to pull her into the abyss. What awaited her as she stepped deeper into the darkness? The hotel's hunger was awake, and now it would demand its feast. Would she find Lucas, or become just another lost soul wandering the cursed halls of Crestview? Emily's breath hitched as the dark room twisted and churned around her. Shadows shifted, taking on eerie shapes that felt like hands clawing at her sanity. The laughter that echoed through the darkness grew louder, almost mocking, mingling with the whispers that craved her despair. "Lucas?" she called again, a raw note of desperation threading through her voice. But all she received was the silence, a suffocating blanket that pressed against her chest. "Come play," the child's voice sang out, innocent yet tainted with something sinister. It seeped into her bones, urging her to move forward. Her instincts screamed for her to run, yet the yearning to find her son rooted her to the spot. Suddenly, the walls around her began to pulse, rhythmically, as if responding to her fear. Each thump resonated deep within her, echoing like her heartbeat, speeding up her pulse. Emily squeezed her eyes shut, fighting to push the suffocating darkness away. "Get a grip," she scolded herself, trying to breathe through the chaos enveloping her. Yet, beneath the surface, terror coiled tighter, whispering vile thoughts. What if she had walked into something insidious? What if this darkness embraced her forever? With a gesture of defiance, she thrust her hand forward, reaching into the darkness towards the sinister giggles laced with heartbreak. The air was thick and stale, wrapping around her like wet cloth. Emily staggered as fingers brushed against her own, fragile and cold, but they didn't feel like Lucas's. "Are you lost?" The child's mouth twisted into a smile, revealing more teeth than should fit in a human mouth. They leaned closer, and for a moment, Emily felt lost in those hollow eyes, a vortex that seemed to pull her in. She blinked, stepping back, her stomach churning. Suddenly, the dim light flickered back to life, illuminating the room, a momentary reprieve. Emily gasped, taking in the scene around her. The tattered curtains billowed like restless spirits, and dust swirled, dancing in the feeble light, creating a ghostly haze. The child was gone, but the room remained unchanged, steeped in an unsettling stillness. Then a scratching sound broke the silence. It came from the far corner of the room, sharp and deliberate, the sound cutting through her terror. Instinctively, she turned her head, heart competing with the muffled whispers that slowly began to rise once more. "Don't look," a voice lunged at her, no longer innocent. "It will see you." She held her breath. What was watching? The air thickened again, constricting as dread wrapped tighter around her. Taking a shaky step, she let her gaze fall into the corner. A pair of eyes, dark and deep, glistened like obsidian stones. They didn't blink. They held a strange hunger, devouring her resolve. Panic surged in her veins. "No!" she screamed, whirling away from the creature that might be lurking in the shadows, renewing her desperate flight toward the door. But the door was gone, vanished into the very walls that only moments before had held it. The shadows laughed. They chuckled with delight, encasing her in their cold embrace. "Come play," they chimed, their voices weaving into one, a symphony of dread wrapping around her. In that instant, Emily knew. This was no game. This was a test, a hunt, and she was the prey. The shadows surged forward, tendrils of darkness reaching out to ensnare her. She was trapped, spiraling into the depths of what Crestview truly was, a place where nightmares were nourished and innocence was devoured whole. Would she drown in darkness or break free? As she prepared to fight back against the shadows, an echo rang out in the periphery, a faint, desperate cry. "Mommy, help me!" What lay beyond the veil of darkness, and could she ever escape from the insatiable terror that gnawed at her soul? A jarring tremor raced through Emily's body as she felt the cold tendrils inching closer. The dark laughter intensified, ricocheting off the walls like a chaotic symphony, drowning her thoughts in an ocean of dread. "Mommy, help me!" The cry twisted her heart, igniting a flicker of hope and desperation at once. Determination surged within her. She could still save Lucas. She had to. Emily willed herself to move, abandoning the mines of shadows crawling toward her. But the pulse of the room shifted, pulling her backward, urging her to stay. Ignoring the want of the darkness, she stumbled toward the last place she thought she could escape, the window. As she approached, the shadows writhed around her legs, crunching against her ankles like dead leaves. She fought against them, tearing herself free. The window loomed before her. She reached for it, hands trembling. Just as her fingers grazed the cold glass, the whispers morphed into a disdainful hiss. "Let go." It coiled around her, entwining within her thoughts. "He is lost. You're too late." "No!" Emily screamed, eyes blurring with tears. The gelid reality pulled at her sanity, shoving images of failed rescue to the forefront of her mind. The last time she lost sight of Lucas in the park and the terror that enveloped her. But she couldn't live in that moment. She reached through, praying for the glass to let her go. But the glass didn't budge. It was solid, unyielding. It felt like a prison. "Mommy!" The cry rang out again, sharper now, distorted and echoing as if coming from within the shadows themselves. The walls around her tightened and the shadows leaned in closer, eager to swallow her screams, but she refused to succumb. Emily spun, her breaths hitching as she scanned the room. She had to find Lucas. A flicker of movement caught her eye. There, where the shadows seemed darkest, she could almost make out the faint shape of a child, the silhouette of a familiar figure. "Lucas!" she called, rushing toward the spot. "Help me!" he pleaded, his voice mingled with fear and urgency. But as she moved, the figure warped, limbs stretching in grotesque mimicry, changing before her very eyes. Had it truly been him? Panic clawed at her. "No! Get away from him!" she shouted, hands raised in a feeble defense as she dashed forward. Suddenly, the shadow surged, an overwhelming tide that swallowed every glimmer of light. Each tendril pulled her back, binding her against the very walls that once felt safe. And as the darkness ebbed and flowed, she felt it, the sharp knife of hopelessness cutting deeper with every moment. The walls pulsed rhythmically, mocking her desperation. "You play the game now," the shadows taunted in unison, dripping like melted wax. But the game does not end. Just then, in the cacophony, she sensed a shift. There was a pulse of energy, something that felt alive. And in that split second, the whispering shadows quieted momentarily. It was as if they were waiting for her answer, for her decision. "Choose," they intoned, voices curling through the air like smoke. Her heart raced. What would she choose? Her eyes darted around, seeking escape, searching for her son. She was faced with a horrifying truth. What if she had to sacrifice herself to save him from this malevolent presence? The energy shifted once more as she pondered, her thoughts racing at the brink of madness. And then, like a bolt of realization, it hit her. The light. There had to be a way out, a way to break the connection. With every ounce of willpower, she squared her shoulders, ready to fight, to push her way through the darkness and wield the hope buried deep inside her. But before she could act, a new sound sliced through the air. Crunching footsteps approaching from behind, slow and deliberate, dragging toil as heavy as stones. Emily froze, a chill creeping up her spine. The shadows parted, revealing a figure, tall and menacing. Its glinting eyes devoured the light, an eerily familiar shape that radiated malice. A grin twisted across its face. Well, someone's been naughty. Emily's scream lodged in her throat, paralyzed by dread. What had she awakened? What awaited her beyond this horror? With the visage of the dark being creeping closer, the terror burrowed deeper. What choice would she have to make, and would it cost more than she was willing to lose? The creature loomed, its presence suffocatingly dense, blocking any remnants of hope. As its unnatural grin split its face, Emily's heart raced like a trapped bird, desperate to escape its cage. With each step forward, shadows writhed around it, as if the darkness itself was a living shroud of despair, eagerly drawing her in. "Do you think you can outsmart the darkness?" it crooned, voice smooth and sinister. It felt like cold fingers brushing against her spine. "You abandoned him, and now you'll pay the price." "Lucas!" she shouted, her voice cracking. She refused to let fear consume her. She had to believe he was close, that he was still fighting. The twisted form flicked its gaze towards the darkness, and for a heartbeat, Emily saw a flicker of movement, an anguished face, a child's eyes filled with terror. "Mommy!" Lucas cried. The sound sliced through the air, sharp and painful. It reinforced her resolve, but also fractured her heart. With a newfound strength, Emily charged towards the shadows. "No! I won't let you take him!" But the being intercepted her, moving with a speed that stole her breath. It loomed over her, dark like the deepest pit, and its voice was a serpent's whisper. "You think this is about him? The game requires a sacrifice, Emily. What does a mother value most?" Suddenly she understood. In that moment of clarity, emotions tangled within her, fear, love, desperation. The truth twisted around her heart like a vice. To rescue Lucas, she might have to let go of her own salvation. "Choose," the being echoed, its eyes flickering with a malicious hunger. "What will you sacrifice?" Her thoughts raced. The choice loomed before her like an abyss. It wasn't just her soul at stake, it was everything she cherished. Could she truly bargain her own life for the light of her son? Could she even save him? The shadows whispered sweet promises that wrapped around her like a noose. Memories flooded her mind. Lucas's laughter, his tiny hands grasping her fingers, the way his eyes sparkled with joy. She couldn't let that light dim. Regardless of the cost, she'd find a way. "Not my son," she managed to breathe, circling her anger into fuel. The shadows faltered, trembling as if her defiance stung. She focused, fighting against the icy grips that dragged at her, visualizing the spark of love deep within her heart. "If there's a way to beat this, I'll do it. I'll fight for him." With every ounce of her being, she called upon the light she felt in the deepest corners of her soul, pushing it outwards. It flickered like a candle's flame, battling the darkness that wanted to extinguish it. The shadows recoiled, shrieking as they found themselves assailed by her fierce will. But the creature wasn't finished. "Such foolish resolve," it snarled, fixating its gaze on Emily. "You think you can conquer the inevitable?" The air thickened as a darkness began to swirl around her, forming a distortion that clawed into her very essence. Emily felt herself being stretched, her energy siphoned. Her legs buckled beneath her, but she refused to let that stop her. "Lucas!" she shouted, feeling an almost electric connection with him. "I'm here! I'm coming!" In that scattered second, the figure of her son shimmered through the shadows, closer now, yet still unreachable. "Mommy!" he implored, voice wavering as if the darkness could consume it at any moment. The being lunged, claws extending like dark, twisted tree branches, reaching out to entwine around Emily's throat. She gasped, heart racing. Was this the moment everything ended? But just then, a brilliant, blinding light erupted from her, fueled by love and fierce desperation. The shadows screamed as they pulled away, contorting in agony. Emily stumbled, the sudden burst wrenching her free, and she found herself standing between the worlds of light and darkness. "Your choice," the sinister figure howled, its voice laced with rage. "This isn't over." "No!" Emily stood resolute, eyes locked on the figure of Lucas, now only a step away. "No, you're wrong. It's just beginning." With a leap, she launched herself forward, not knowing if she would find her son. But at that moment, she felt hope. If she could just reach him, her mother's heart, a world of light nestled beneath the weight of dread. But as she reached out, the darkness surged again, and a chilling voice echoed around her. "It's a far worse game than you know." What was the true cost of her resolve to save him? Would the light she summoned be enough, or would the shadows claim them both? The world around Emily twisted like a fever dream. In the throes of that burst of light, she felt real, she felt powerful. But as the shadows twisted back, their shrill cries pierced her resolve. "Mommy!" Lucas's voice echoed, trembling, haunted. Each syllable felt like a dagger digging deeper into Emily's heart. The creature, now half draped in shadows, hissed at her defiance. Its claws scraped the ground, leaving dark, bubbling trails. "The more you resist, the more desperate this becomes. You cannot protect him from something that thrives on fear." Frustration boiled within her as she reached again for Lucas. "I will find you, Boo. Hold on." Her words felt like a tether straining against an unyielding force, but the endless darkness clawed back, cutting deeper inside her. A familiar chill unspooled in her chest, doubt nagging at her like a hungry wolf. The shadows morphed, swirling shapes of terror, faces she recognized but couldn't place. Frantic flashes of children, friends, family, people she had lost touch with. Each face told a story, a whisper of guilt that rushed back to her. "Those you love will suffer, Emily," the creature taunted. "What about your husband, your friends, your world? They all await their fate, just as your precious boy does." The word husband struck her like scorching metal. The memories rushed back, vivid like bloodstains on a carpet. She remembered his laughter, the promises they made, and the bitter night he left. Her heart faltered. Could she truly bear the weight of his loss too? A tremor ran through her limbs, her own fear spilling over. "No, I won't let this, whatever you are, win." Yet with every ounce of courage she mustered, the creature seemed to grow stronger, siphoning her energy as it convulsed with excitement. It fed off her turmoil, each wave of doubt and fear only deepening its cruel delight. "Your love cannot save you now," it crooned, inching closer, a grotesque mockery of affection. Waves of despair crashed against Emily as she stared at the figure of Lucas. No longer shimmering, he became trapped in a whirlpool of darkness, his cries now echoing in an empty void. The desperate plea in his voice made her blood run cold, igniting a fierce primal instinct. Running wasn't enough. The light flickered, and she felt herself gripping the remnants of hope like the last thread of a fraying rope. "I will not forsake him!" The shadows lunged, their cold tendrils wrapping around her ankles, gripping and squeezing, intent on dragging her down. "Choose your sacrifice wisely," the being hissed, its form flickering like a cheap film. "The game is always watching as the sacrifice unfolds." Her mind raced. What if her fear, her anguish was the key? What if she could turn that darkness against itself? With trembling hands, she closed her eyes, focusing on the memories, the one true, unwavering connection she had with Lucas. It was the bond of pure maternal love, the essence that was both her light and her shield. "Lucas!" she shouted, summoning the brilliance of their bond. "Hear me! I am coming for you!" But just as the shadows recoiled from her flame, a sinister laugh tore through the air, a sound so dissonant it shattered her focus. "You think your light can drive us away?" the creature snarled. "The real horror has yet to come." Emily's heart raced, fear clawing at her. Unseen hands twisted around her throat, cutting off her breath. And then darkness exploded. In that moment, fears collided, the faces from her past rising like phantoms in the suffocating shadow. Would her love be enough to slay this monstrous being, or would it drag her and Lucas into eternal night? The darkness pulsated, a living thing. Would the light she wielded extinguish everything she had fought for? Or was it merely the beginning? With a shuddering gasp, Emily felt a whisper from somewhere deep within, a glimmer of strength that burned against the despair. But just as she steadied herself, a deeper shadow emerged, threatening to engulf them all. What choice would she make now? The stakes were higher than ever. As time twisted and stretched, she realized this wasn't just a fight for Lucas, but a battle for her soul. Would she yield to the darkness or reclaim herself? And as shadows shifted, she understood. Everything depended on this final confrontation. "Let the true game begin," the voice hissed, and the very ground beneath her trembled with dread. What terrifying twist awaited them? Was there truly a way through the dark, or had she stepped into her own nightmare? The ground quaked beneath her, each pulse of darkness resonating within Emily's body like the steady thump of a war drum. The shadowy tendrils held her tighter, a vice of fear squeezing her heart. "No!" she gasped, a sound choked by desperation. With a sudden burst of rage, she flung her arms wide, the flicker of light within her igniting into a halo. "You will not claim me! Not now, not ever!" A wave of light surged forth, breaking against the shadows like shattering glass. The creature recoiled, hissing like a serpent scorned, its body flickering with anger. Emily's pulse quickened. It was working. Her love was powerful. But as she pressed forward, determination burning in her chest, fear clawed back, raw and savage. A wail echoed in the void, pulling at her thoughts like a dark tide pulling her under. Lucas's face, his wide eyes full of terror, rippled through the darkness, a reflection of her own agony. "Mommy, help me!" The pit of her stomach twisted and turned. Each cry broke her resolve, pulling her back into the darkness, as if the creature was playing a cruel melody which would lead her to abandon hope. She could almost see Lucas's figure dissolve into shadows. Shadows that danced, taunted and beckoned with promises of despair. "Enough!" she screamed as the light radiating from her flickered violently. "I know your game!" As if on cue, the shadows twisted and shifted, forming into scenes of her life. Moments of joy, laughter, and love, but all marred with dark undertones of regret and loss. Her husband's face appeared beside Lucas. They stood there, side by side, frozen in time like figures trapped in a bad nightmare. "Do you see them?" the creature hissed, its voice slithering through the air. "Do you see the sacrifice you are willing to make?" "No!" Emily shouted. "I will not trade my light for your darkness." Sweat dripped from her forehead, trickling down like the weight of her decision hanging heavy. The shadows flickered, restless, like vultures waiting to feast. For an instant, she thought of yielding, of letting herself slip away into darkness. But then she remembered the warmth of Lucas's tiny hand in hers, the way he smiled, the dreams they shared. That knowledge reinstated her strength. It was a light that would not wane. Love could not be snuffed out like a mere candle. "Lucas!" she cried, pushing against the horror that surrounded her. "I'm coming for you! Hold on!" The creature writhed in frustration, dark lips pulling back to reveal serrated teeth. "You are a fool if you think familial bonds can save you from the abyss." In a heartbeat, it lunged forward, shadows swirling like a cyclone, intent on swallowing her whole. Emily didn't flinch. She focused, channeling every ounce of resolve she had into her voice, battling against the tide of despair. "Lucas!" she cried again, stronger this time. "We are stronger than the darkness." Suddenly, the creature let out an unholy screech, the sound ripping through the atmosphere like shattering glass. The very fabric of reality seemed to tremble around her, fissures of light battling against the growing shadows. But the creature's laughter echoed through the sound of her own heartbeat, a chilling reminder that hope comes with a price. "Sacrifice is inevitable," it taunted. "Either you lose yourself, or you let go of the boy." "No, I won't!" she shouted into the gnawing void. And just as Emily felt herself begin to waver, a flicker sparkled in the center of her heart, a flicker of defiance. She was not done fighting, not yet. This darkness had tried to take so much from her. The shadows that threatened to crush her were about to meet their match. As she steeled herself for the battle of her life, she realized the truth. The game was more than a test of love. It was a war against everything that sought to keep her down. The shadows lunged at her, light and dark colliding in a chaotic burst of energy. What would emerge from this cataclysm? Would she rise or fall into the shadows? Her heart thundered as the shadows closed in. "Let's see what you're really made of," the creature howled, its voice fading into a shrill crescendo as everything erupted into chaos. Would she be able to reclaim her son and herself, or would this be the final act before the curtain fell? The shadows crashed around her like waves of black water, pulling her in every direction, threatening to swallow her whole. Emily could feel the weight of countless whispers hissing at her, driving daggers of doubt into her mind. "You're losing him," they chorused, every word dripping with malice. "Give in. Let go." "No!" she screamed, flinging her arms wide again. Light erupted from her core, a scorching sun in the enveloping dusk, forcing the tendrils back for a fleeting moment. She could see Lucas's face again, so clear amidst the chaos, his small body trembling, eyes pleading. But the darkness shrieked in protest, rallying around her like a tempest. It was relentless. The air grew thick and cold, her breath hitching in her throat as ice-cold fingers brushed against her skin. There seemed to be no escape. Every inch of her screamed for the warmth of her son, pushing her closer to the edge of despair. Just as she felt herself teetering on the brink of surrender, a flicker in the corner of her eye caught her attention. The very shadows that had imprisoned her began to writhe and churn. They held something, a glimmer, a spark. Could that be hope? She focused on it, her instincts igniting as she realized it was the fading light from her love for Lucas, fighting against the depths of despair. "Together," she cried, instinctively reaching out toward that light. "We can fight this." The shadows twisted violently, a whirlwind of dark fury. Emily could feel their tendrils clawing at her heart, wrapping around her mind. But now she was fueled by rage and unwilling to relent. She was a mother, a protector. With renewed fury, she thrust her hands forward and drew upon every loving memory she had of Lucas, his laugh, his first steps, the way he clung to her during storms. One by one, those images blossomed in her heart like a fierce, furious inferno. "Stand with me, Lucas," she bellowed, her words cutting through the veil of the dark. The shadows shrieked, looser than before, but they were not done. In response to her defiance, they roared, splintering the air with their anger. "You forget, Emily." It was the creature, its voice a dark symphony of hatred and contempt. "You have already sacrificed. Such memories are just illusions born of fear. The truth is right in front of you. The boy is lost." A chill crept into her veins. "No!" She howled, straining against the instinct to give in. The fear threatened to bury her, but she had to remember, Lucas was not a shadow. He was flesh and light. He was real. Suddenly, a blinding flash burst forth, ripping the shadows apart and illuminating the void with brilliance. The shadow shrieked, scattering like crumbling ash in the wind. Emily felt a rush of light flooding through her, as if the very universe aligned to give her strength. This was no longer just a battle. It was a revolution against despair. But just as victory seemed close, the ground trembled violently beneath her. The tendrils recoiled, regrouping, and deep-rooted malevolence seeped back into the realm. "You think this is a fight you can win?" the creature shrieked as the shadows began reforming, slashing toward her with renewed ferocity. "You cannot run from the darkness within." Realization struck Emily with a harsh pang. This fight was far from over. The shadows materialized back into monstrous forms, restless, alive with anger. "Lucas!" she screamed, her voice breaking with desperation. "I'm not giving up." But their eyes locked, one filled with dread, the other with a flicker of hope. He was still out there. She refused to let this nightmare end the bond they shared. As despair hung heavily in the air, a deeper truth clawed at Emily's heart, waiting to be unearthed. What was it that lay within her own darkness, lurking just beneath the surface? Would she discover that chilling truth, or would the shadows consume everything she held dear? The turbulent shadows swallowed her scream whole, leaving an emptiness so profound that echoed in the very depths of her soul. The battle was far from over, and the shadows were only just beginning to show their true power. Emily's heart thudded heavily in her chest, a frantic drumbeat against the encroaching black. The shadows coiled tighter around her, a living, breathing mass full of pulsating malice and intent. She felt their icy breath, a shiver crawling over her skin as reality warped, twisting her perception of time and space. The darkness laughed in her ear, a mocking echo that drowned out her thoughts. Just then, the ground buckled, sending a tremor through the very fabric of her being. Emily fought to remain standing, but even her sturdy resolve began to falter under the crushing weight of despair. She grasped desperately at the fading tendrils of light within her, battling to reignite that spark for Lucas. "Mom!" A voice pierced through the chaos, fragile yet familiar. It was like the faint sound of a bell in a storm. Emily turned, her breath snagging in her throat. Could it be? The shadows twisted, momentarily revealing a silhouette, a small figure, lost among swirling darkness. "Lucas!" she screamed, reaching out, her hand trembling with hope. "I'm here! Hold on!" No sooner had she uttered those words than a wave of darkness crashed over her, pushing her to her knees. The shadows lashed out with renewed ferocity, their whispers rising in a menacing crescendo. "Do you think he can hear you?" The creature's voice slithered through the air like poison. "You're too far gone, my dear. The boy is trapped, just like you." "No," Emily gasped, her resolve hardening. She didn't want to believe it. The words tore through her like nails on a chalkboard, but she couldn't succumb. She had to fight. Choosing to seize the moment, she recalled every moment they had spent together. Lucas giggling at silly cartoons, his tiny hands clasped tightly around her finger. The bedtime stories and the warmth of shared embraces. These memories were armor, warding off the increasing darkness. "Lucas, please," she cried, fumbling to find him within the chaos. "I won't let them take you." Just as her voice echoed, a tremor of something unsettling rippled through her. Emily suddenly felt the shadows pulling at her, trying to lure her deeper into their twisting grasp. Each moment they extended their shadows drew her closer to a chilling realization. The boy wasn't just lost in darkness, he was also lost within her. With horror, Emily faced the truth. The darkness consumed everything she feared, every moment of doubt she ever entertained. The creature's laughter morphed into a roar, its shape shifting, flaring with wild, chilling shadows. "What if I told you," it hissed, "that the reason you can't find him is because he's within your own heart? Can you bear the weight of the truth?" Panic exploded in her chest. The realization was a seething mass of dread. What if Lucas's condition was more intertwined with her than just being a victim of this nightmare? What if he had already become part of her darkness, something she would have to face if there was any hope of saving him? "Lucas!" she bellowed into the void, fighting against the dark seeping deeper into her soul. "Stay with me. Remember our love." The shadows recoiled for a moment, and Emily caught a glimpse of a dim light flickering in the distance, luminous and beckoning. It danced tantalizingly, promising that Lucas was still there. But the shadows screamed again, increasing their assault as they tried to snuff out that light. They began wrapping around her tighter, a cacophony of panic and despair filling the air as they closed in on her mind. As Emily dug deep, clawing for strength, a voice broke through. The boy's voice. "Mom, I'm scared." The sound sent shivers down her spine, but it was also a jolt of adrenaline. They were connected, time and space melting away as she clung to that thread of hope. Would she dare tread into the darkness within her heart to save him, or would the shadows drown them both? Darkness surged around her, looming heavier, practically suffocating. "Will you embrace what lies beneath, the creature taunted, shadows swirling with an electric charge. Only a decision lay ahead, one that could change everything. Could the truth set them free, or would it shatter their connection forever? The shadows loomed, waiting for her answer. Emily's heart raced as the shadows crept closer, their cold tendrils curling around her. She felt their weight, a suffocating blanket that threatened to crush her spirit. But there, just beneath the thick layer of darkness, flickered a light, a beacon of hope, the faint echo of her son's laughter, a reminder of everything she had lost and everything worth fighting for. "Lucas," she screamed, her voice breaking through the chaos. "I'm coming for you, just hold on." With every ounce of courage, she focused on that light, the love she felt for her child bolstering her resolve. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for him, for the moments they shared, the dreams they had yet to fulfill, the laughter that still echoed in her heart. The creature hissed, shadows swirling around its grotesque form, tightening their grip. "You will never escape, Emily. He is mine now." "No!" she shouted, the very fabric of her being igniting with determination. "You do not own him. You will not take my son." In a flurry of chaotic energy, Emily thrust her hands outward, channeling the warmth within her. Light blazed bright, cutting through the darkness, splintering apart the shadowy forms that swirled ominously. For the first time, she felt the divide shifting, the balance tilting toward hope. "Lucas, remember me, remember us," she called, her voice echoing through the void, powerful and unyielding. Then, amidst the chaos, she heard it, a whispering echo of a child's voice. "Mommy, I'm here." A soft illumination began to shimmer in the dark, a golden glow growing stronger. It danced on the edge of her vision, a promise made flesh, drawing her closer. The shadows shrieked in agony, horrified by the light that threatened to consume them. They twisted in terror, evaporating like smoke before a flame. And in that moment of clarity, Emily surged forward, her heart pounding, each step a battle against the shadows that assumed they could bind her forever. As she reached the source of that light, she saw him, Lucas, pale but alive, eyes shimmering like stars. "Mom!" His tiny face lit up with joy, cutting through the dark with its unwavering love. "Lucas!" she cried, arms outstretched. Their fingers met, and the world around them shimmered in a kaleidoscope of light. The shadows recoiled as if stung, their weight lifting, their grip loosening. Emily clutched Lucas tightly, the contact igniting a force within her, both fierce and pure. She could feel their bond rippling through the air like electricity, bright and unrelenting. "Together," she urged, her breath quickening with urgency. "We'll fight together." The shadows screeched, the sound reverberating with fury, but Emily could no longer hear it. With Lucas by her side, she launched into the heart of the storm, igniting a pulse of warmth that surged through both of them. The darkness shivered, clinging desperately to any remnants of fear, but it was no match for the love radiating from their entwined hands. "Let's end this," Emily shouted, the words bursting forth like a battle cry. The shadows twisted and screeched, but their movements began to falter. In a final act of defiance, Emily raised her free hand high, directing the light with fierce determination. "You do not define us. You will not consume us. We are stronger than you." With one swift motion, she thrust her light into the void. The glow erupted, consuming the shadows entirely, illuminating every dark corner of that dread-filled space. In the chaos of resistance, a storm brewed. The air hummed with energy, collapsing in on itself. "Mommy!" Lucas cheered. And together, they felt their energy merging into a hurricane of light. The shadows dissolved, shrieking in futile despair, light consuming their darkness. And then, silence. The world quieted, the oppressive weight of the shadows evaporating into nothingness. Emily stood there, breathless, surrounded by a radiant glow. She looked down at Lucas, whom the darkness had tried so desperately to keep from her. "Are you okay, Boo?" she asked, her voice trembling with relief and joy. "I'm okay now," he grinned, innocence spilling from him like sunshine. As a gentle warmth engulfed them, the familiarity of home came rushing back. The anguish of shadows was replaced by the confines of the tangible world. The lobby of the Crestview Hotel, now devoid of its haunted aura. Emily blinked, the night receding like a fading memory. The chandelier above them shimmered brightly, casting playful light onto the lobby floor. The cafe next to them hummed with life. Every creak of the floor brought a sense of comfort. "Let's go home," she whispered, tears streaming down her face as she wrapped Lucas tightly in her arms. For the first time in what felt like forever, hope washed over her like a refreshing tide. As she stepped out into the dawn, Emily felt a part of herself heal, a powerful certainty that love conquers darkness, no matter how overwhelming it feels. She would carry that light with her, forever illuminating the path ahead. In the distance, the shadows might linger, but they would never take them again. This was their freedom, their respite, and together they would face whatever came next. Remember, if you're enjoying the stories, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive tales. Smash that like button now and feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful ending. Show your support. It really matters.